Hi, on this edition of Spotlight On, I talked to actor Eric Braeden. We will talk Germany, name changes, Marlon Brando, Titanic. Does he check on his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? And of course, Victor Newman, next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Spotlight On here on AfterBuzzTV.com. I am your host, James Lott Jr., and you can follow me everywhere in the universe at James Lott Jr. I'm trying to hold it together today because I'm a huge fan of this person. When they use the word legend, they throw it around to some people. No, this guy is a legend. I get the honor of talking to someone who's worked on countless TV and movies, including Rat Patrol, Colossus, Titanic, Morituri, Escape from Planet of the Apes. I got to talk about that. Hawaii Five-0, just to name a few. And of course, for the last 36 years, he's played on CBS daytime dramas, number one daytime drama, The Young and the Restless. He plays Victor Newman, one of my favorite characters of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Braeden.
James, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And you play to all corners of the world.
Yes, all corners of the world.
That is absolutely amazing.
It's the new way now.
Right now, between Azerbaijan and Armenia, they're fighting over an area called Nagorno, Mubarak or whatever.
And hopefully they stop me
Even
watching
there,
this.
they may hear it.
Yes, they may hear it.
They may stop the fighting.
Exactly.
I think they did.
I think they did too, because it's you. That's why they stopped. How you doing?
Thank you, James.
Belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
You just had a birthday recently.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And what do you birthdays, I know as I get older, and I have kids and I have grandkids, things change as you get older. What do birthdays mean to you these days?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I forget about them very quickly. Except my family and friends want to celebrate, and so we had a little celebration. I'm very reluctant about my birthdays.
Yeah.
I usually plan them in the last minute, if at all.
Oh, funny.
Try to get around it.
Yep.
But if nothing happens, I'm insulted.
Oh, funny. You're like, I don't want to plan it or anything, but you have to do something for me.
Something has to happen.
Yeah, you have to recognize. Like that. You have to recognize me, of course.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please. Hello.
You know, but don't make it too obvious.
Yes, exactly. I like that. Exactly. And so I'm sure your family knows by now what to do and how to do it.
They do, and it was wonderful, and with close friends, and it was very nice.
And you have son and you have grandkids.
I have 3 granddaughters.
Oh, 3 girls.
It's adorable.
Well, I'm sure the lights of your life. I'm sure.
Absolute lights of my life.
Yeah.
I must say.
Yeah.
Everything stops.
Oh, I'm sure.
When I see them, when they come in, that's it.
You're like, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Sold.
Don't want to be bothered by anything else.
Oh, that's not great. I love that. I love my grandkids too. It's just a great thing to have that.
It's the best.
So I want to start out because you've had a varied career. And what I want to talk about is I have a director that I've interviewed. Her name is Nzinga Stewart. And she's talked about having a name that's not American and how that actually sometimes hinders her. Mm-hmm. And you know something about this because back in the 60s, you came with your birth German name, correct?
Mm-hmm. Hans Gudegast.
There you go. I like that. Say that again. That's good.
Hans Gudegast.
I like that. And so your first part of your career, you actually used it like Rat Patrol, so you used that name. Mm-hmm. So what was that? I mean, what was that like for you using your German name, and why did...
It was the most difficult thing to do for me to finally make that decision. And the decision was, in a sense, forced upon me by Lou Wasserman, who ran Universal Studios in the 60s and 70s, the most powerful man in Hollywood at the time.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to star in a film called Colossus, the Foreman Project.
That's what you did, yes.
But he insisted that I change my name because he said no one with a German name would star in an American picture.
Interesting.
So I was doing a film in Spain at the time when I got the call from the agent, and we were sharing a huge flat, my wife and I, with Fernando Lamas and Esther Williams.
Oh my God, hello. Oh my God, wow.
And we were all joking about it.
Yeah.
When I got the call that they wanted me to star in this film,
Yes.
which is every actor's dream.
Yeah, hello, yeah.
But certainly every European actor's dream.
Yeah.
And certainly every German actor's dream.
Yes.
Because I played nothing but bad guys before.
Yeah, right.
So reluctantly I agreed after talking to my wife about it for 3, 4, 5 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My first response was not a kind response.
I'm sure it was.
I will not reiterate it here.
Yes. I think we got an idea of kind of what you might have
must
said.
have, exactly. And but I had done a Broadway play in 1965 with Geraldine Page and Kurt Jürgens
Oh my God. Okay.
from Enemy Below.
Okay.
And Kurt Jürgens was a big German actor who had played some Nazi parts over here.
Yeah.
And he said, go back to Germany because in America you play nothing but Nazis.
Wow.
I said, I'll make the difference.
Okay.
I'll get out of this.
Yeah.
And I did.
Yes, you did. Like this, and that's a good point because you could have just played villainous Germans for the rest of your career.
You know, that became so dehumanizing after a while that I said, I can't do this anymore. I will get out of the business. I can't do it anymore. This constant vilification and identification of Germany with that damn Nazi period that lasted 12 years.
Yeah.
I was so fed up with it, and yet I understood it.
Oh, right. You got both sides of it, but you're like, I don't have to play it.
Right.
Right. You do it all. So you decide to change your name, and I think most people kind of know what you came up with, Eric Braeden, but can you tell folks who don't?
I come from a village in Germany called Braeden. So I took the first part, Braeden. And Eric is a distant name in the family, and certainly Northern European, and could have been
Yeah, anybody.
Anglo-Saxon, whatever. And there you are.
I take it for granted because my name, James Lott Jr., could be anything. Like it's very benign. I don't have to really worry about it.
Right.
It's like must be hard when you come. You're like, this is my name. It's what I was born with.
Well, you know, nowadays it has changed
Yeah.
in a sense. And I always say that Arnold Schwarzenegger, had he been German, would not have starred in those films
That's funny.
at that time. I don't think so.
Wow.
Now maybe yes, but not at that time. No.
I'm trying to think. Are there any? I guess now, if you came out today, you probably could have kept your name, possibly.
Most
Possibly.
likely.
Yeah.
Most likely, because what most people don't know is that Germans are the largest ethnic group in America.
Oh, really?
Look
wow.
on Google.
Okay.
Look on the largest ethnic group in America.
Wow.
Germans are number one.
Well, it makes sense because I go to the Midwest a lot. There are a lot of German towns and people of German descent in the Midwest.
And most of them have denied it because of the
Yeah.
First and the Second World War.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is tough.
Two men with inferiority complexes, the Kaiser and Hitler,
Yeah.
have done more to sully the name of Germany than anyone else.
Crazy.
So be careful, be aware of people with inferiority complexes, seeking power.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a dangerous combination.
That's kind of a. We could talk about that also.
Oh, yeah, we could, but
today.
we don't. Right.
I could really go off on that one.
If you get the drift.
Yes, exactly. But you did start out, you did Rap Patrol, which I remember hearing about that back in the 60s. And so what was that experience like for you, your first kind of big experience in Hollywood?
Well, again, one had ambivalent feelings about it because it obviously was a very successful show. I had a pretty big part in it. And yet it was a cartoon. In other words, the reverse happened. Rommel fought with a smaller army against the entire might of the British Eighth Army and the Americans, and kicked their ass for quite some time
Yeah.
in North Africa. And this series was the exact reverse. Two lonely jeeps defeating the mighty North African Roman army.
God.
There you go. But I was glad to do it.
Yeah.
I was happy to do it. So you are of two minds. As an actor, you say, thank God.
Right.
And as a human being who is aware of history, you say, this is simply totally untrue. It's a cartoon.
That's a tough thing because just in general, I was going to ask you, there's people in the chat room, people are saying, well said, they're talking on your side. When any of the characters that you've played,
Excuse me, you mean you can read there what
Yeah.
people respond to?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
say hello, I love Eric Braeden, well said, totally agree. People
I'll be damned.
There's people in
Look
here.
at that.
I'll tell you the thing. People are talking.
Unbelievable.
It's like in live time, in real time.
Unbelievable.
In real time. People are watching
Modern
us.
technology.
Yes, I love it.
Well, hello to everyone out there.
See, there you go.
I'm glad you're listening.
Can you actually say hi? My brother JR is a huge fan of yours. Can you say hi to JR for me, please?
Hello, JR. How the hell are you?
I love it. Thank you.
Okay.
He's a big fan. We discuss you and your character all the time. But yeah, so do you have to like your characters that you play?
No.
You don't have to like them.
No. If that were the case, I wouldn't have done any of them, except very few.
Yeah.
I loved working on Gunsmoke.
I was going to ask you about Gunsmoke. It
Love
was
them.
James Arness, right?
I loved those.
Okay.
James Arness laughed so hard that when he laughed, he sounded like a horse. And it was so infectious that he couldn't stop.
Yeah, how funny.
But the worst period on a television camera
Yes.
while working, I spent when I worked with Buddy Epson
Oh,
in a
okay.
thing called Barnaby Jones.
Yes, I know Barry Jones, yes.
And Buddy, sweet man, had
Yes.
a habit of sort of sleepwalking, And I played some phony art dealer,
Oh, God.
and Bernard Evans, a great British actor, was there, and the three of us had a scene. So when Buddy Ebsen came walking into the scene, the whole thing struck us all as so funny
Yeah.
that every time we tried it, we broke out into laughter.
Oh, no.
You know how painful that is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Every
yes.
minute costs thousands of
Oh, I
dollars.
know. I know.
So, and okay, let's do it again. All right. Okay, action. Okay. Buddy kept sleepwalking up and just looked at Bernard Fox and had to laugh. It's agony. I
No,
tell
I'm sure.
you.
No, I'm sure.
So we finally had it under control,
Yeah.
and then suddenly we were ready to do the scene, and I see the camera shake. So the cameraman
Oh, my
was
God. They're
laughing.
laughing, too. Oh, my God.
And then in the corner of my eye, I see the director leave the scene because he had to laugh. So finally, the production manager came down and stopped that.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure they did, didn't they? You've done. You make a good point because you've done so many different episodic TV. Some people may not even know this. And well, okay, first of all, James Arness, give me a few words about him. He's such an iconic.
First of all, he was about 6'7".
I heard he was tall.
Big man.
Yeah, I heard he was tall.
And one thing I'll never forget.
Okay.
I'll never forget. Very nice man.
Okay.
That said, they're the nicest actors, the most professional group of producers and directors. It was just
Wow.
a wonderful set to work in.
Wow.
And I think everyone from John Boyd to Burt Reynolds, everyone who has worked on that show
Yeah.
as a guest star remembers that show very fondly. I loved it. I just absolutely loved it. He was a larger-than-life figure, and he would, he was a big voice, a big man, and he would learn these few lines and this and that, and then crumple up a piece of paper and throw it.
Oh.
And I do that on Y&R
Oh.
until finally I remembered why I do it. Because he did it.
Yeah.
And I remembered it.
Oh, how funny! You were
I'll
just
never
doing
forget
it. You didn't realize you were
He would
doing it.
come it up, throw it away. All right, let's do it. So,
Wow.
and I do it on Y&R, and then I thought, why am I doing this?
It's like,
And I said, oh, yeah. It made such a deep impression that I also have
Yeah.
followed that tradition.
and actually, you have to know your lines, don't you?
You have to
When you
know
do
your
that,
lines.
because the paper is crumbled over there somewhere.
You better not do it elegantly and then suddenly not know your lines. You know?
That's really cool. You also did Hawaii Five-0. You played, when I looked up your stuff, you did like 3 different characters in that show.
I guest starred more than almost anyone else ever. did it, yeah.
So they loved you then. They were like, come on in.
No, I mean on all shows,
Yeah.
the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I think I probably have one of the records of guest starring there.
Yeah, no, you do. I mean, I can't even mention every single thing, but yeah, you've done a lot.
Hawaii Five-0 was very nice. I loved going to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Hawaii's great.
Very organized show.
Jack Lord
Very
and all
well
that.
done. Jack Lord was a very, very organized, very disciplined, very by the book, and nice man. And they were all nice. I must say,
Yeah.
I've had almost nothing but very good experiences.
That's good.
And the best experience was in Mary Tyler Moore.
I was going to ask this. I just interviewed Ed Asner the other day.
Oh, you did?
I did. He was a pistol.
I love Ed Asner.
So do I. Now that I know him, I love him to
He's
death.
a character.
But Mary Tyler Moore, so, I mean, yeah, talk about another iconic show. I mean, and Mary Tyler Moore is the producer. I mean, there's a whole, her and her husband at the time.
What a sweet lady.
Yeah.
And Ted Knight, I knew Ted before.
Ted Knight.
Gavin MacLeod.
Yeah.
And Betty White.
Oh,
who
yeah.
was a
Oh,
hoot.
yeah.
What a wonderful! I mean, that was arguably the most enjoyable show I think I've done.
Do you like doing comedy?
I would love to do far more comedy.
More comedy, yeah.
I really would.
Yeah.
What they should do is they should tape our rehearsals.
What?
Why not?
With crazy backstage antics.
If you think we take this shit seriously, I mean, if they heard some of the stuff, but then you do take it seriously when it comes to a take.
Right.
And that is the craft. We may make fun of it.
Got it. Right.
Rehearsal before.
Yeah.
Then you take and you pop, you focus, you're into it, and you do it. And then sometimes you say, my God, it actually worked.
Well, I guess you kind of have to make fun of it a little bit because some of the stuff is, I mean, super outrageous. So, I mean, you've been through a lot of stuff over the years. I'm sure you're like, we got to make fun of this so I can actually, you know.
Shall I count the ways?
But that's good to know. And also, I always say that sometimes at certain jobs.
But you know something, having said that,
Yes.
I have the deepest respect for writers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
My son is a screenwriter,
Yes.
but if I imagine having to write for at least 25 characters
Yeah.
a day,
Yeah.
I have the deepest respect.
Yeah.
And I'm very humble before writers because that is the toughest job. And they're the least talked about.
Well, I always try to tell people that because I do soap shows, and I always tell them, they're putting out, shows every day, almost every single week of the year.
Yes.
That's a lot of material.
Extraordinary.
So it's not, people can't be perfect and all. It's like it's a lot of material. So.
Well, let me give you a little rundown on soaps because people need to know that.
Yeah, please.
A nighttime television show that I used to do a lot of shoots between 8 and 12 pages a day
Got it.
of an 80 or 90 page script.
Yeah.
A film like Titanic did about 2 pages a day.
Like
3 at the most.
It's like,
We do at least 120 pages a day.
oh my God.
The most we did the other day was 168 pages in one day. I asked the stage manager.
Oh my God.
And it is dizzying.
Yeah, I'm
it
sure.
goes that fast.
Sure.
We learn as actors
Yeah.
between 10 and the most I've done is 62 pages in one day.
Oh my
Myself.
God. Oh my God.
You learn it by heart.
Yeah.
Memorize it.
Remember, your muscles working, obviously.
All
Yeah.
the time.
Wow.
We have wonderful actors on the show.
Yeah, you
I
do.
mean, Peter Bergman, Melody Thomas Scott,
Oh, yeah.
Emilia Heinle, Sharon Case, Joshua Morrow. I mean, James, what's his name?
There's Doug Davidson, yeah. Tracy
Dougie
Bergman,
Davidson,
yeah.
all of them.
Yes.
Wonderful actors.
Yes.
And Justin Hartley.
Justin Hartley,
plays
yes.
Adam.
Melissa Carr Egan. I mean, they're all just,
Steve
Sharon
Burton.
Case.
I mean, we have wonderful actors on
Yeah.
the show, And the fact that we do this in 1 take or 2 takes is stunning. I watched some scenes in the last 2 weeks and I said, I'll be damned. This is damn good.
So you guys do like a blocking and that's it, right? You just set up blocking. You don't do rehearsals anymore and like that, do you?
No, you do a blocking.
Yeah,
And then
that's
you have one kind of rehearsal.
Okay.
One, that's it. Wow. And then you do it. Wow. And people have no idea what that means.
They don't.
On films, you do, nighttime television, you do 4, 5, 6, 10 takes.
Oh my God.
In films, you do.
Oh yeah.
Some directors who have an ego problem will do 20 takes. And there are quite a few around, apparently.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't encounter them. I have no patience with those.
They don't need to encounter you. That's right. They need to
Little
encounter
nerds, who suddenly feel power.
Yes.
It's like a brain surgeon when you direct. You have all
yeah.
the power suddenly, and they all of a sudden feel empowered.
Yeah.
They need a little spanking. Anyway,
Yeah. That's really incredible because people don't even realize that's every day or 3 days a week for you sometimes, or I don't know how many days a week you're working these days because you're a front burner all the time.
45 all the time, most of the time. And the crews, I have the deepest respect for.
Oh my God. They're there before you get there, they're there after you leave, I'm sure.
It's unbelievable.
It's a well-oiled machine. Why do you think that Young and Restless is just the number one soap basically in the world? That it's lasted this long, it literally is number one.
In the end, I don't know, but I would say that we have had, continuum of good writers, I think. And then it's a constellation of actors. Mm-hmm. But that's so difficult, so nebulous. It's so difficult to nail down who is responsible for what. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's all I can say to fellow actors is if you latch onto a role that you like and that somehow reflects who you are or what you can bring to the table, stay with it as long as you can. Milk it to the nth degree.
Okay.
There are 150,000 registered actors in Hollywood,
Yeah, that's a lot.
of which 1% make a living.
Isn't that crazy? That's the truth.
That's crazy,
That is crazy.
okay?
That is.
So if you have a part, I've seen some actors who leave the show, our show, for example, and they were wonderful in the part. And I said, what the hell do you think is happening now? Do you think they're waiting for you outside? Because they're not.
Right.
They are not.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you because I feel one of the success stories of Y&R is because a lot of you guys have stayed a long time. Now, there's not a high turnover rate. It's like some soaps, so they're gone every 5 years. So you guys, you talk about Peter Bergman, Jess Walton. Everybody just been around for a long, Millie Thomas Scott, been around a long time.
That's right.
So we feel like you're part of our family.
That's right. That's interesting that you say that.
Because people change and you get used to the character. It's a new person playing it. It'll be fine. But like you guys have a long stretch of actors who've been on the show.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the successes. I think.
Yeah. Yes.
I think so. But like you said, it's kind of like it's an amalgamation of things. Obviously.
And they're damn good actors.
They're all great actors.
I mean, today I watched a scene between Peter Bergman and Joshua Morrow and Emilia Heinle, Jack and Nick and
Victoria. Yeah.
Wonderful scene.
And see that
Another scene between Christian Leblanc and
Christian, we love
and
him.
Tracy Bregman, damn good scene. And I mean, it's wonderful.
But see, also part of it is they're the same actors, so we see the history of those actors on the show.
Yes.
I think that helps the scenes.
Very true.
Especially everybody you work with, especially too, so that we know you've been on 36 years, and I know, and this is, like I said again, this is a dream realized. I'm sitting with you. I think your character, Victor Newman, is one of the most uniquely written, uniquely acted roles. Period. Like on television. Period. Like like a Tony Soprano, J.R. Ewing. I feel like you guys are all so iconic and transcend your medium that it's just amazing to me. I mean, your acting choices, everything. I love it.
That's very nice to hear. Very nice to hear. Who had a lot to do with the construction of that character was Bill Bell.
Bill Bell. Legendary Bill Bell.
And I had, after 1 year, gone up to him and I said, Bill, I can't do this anymore. If Victor Newman is just a bad guy, I'm out. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's too dehumanizing. I'd been doing that for too many years.
Yeah.
And he came up with the storyline where Victor was left at an orphanage.
I was going to bring it up. That's yes.
The moment I played that scene with Melody Thomas Scott, I walked off the set. I called my wife and I said, "Now I'm going to stay."
Wow.
Because I knew that gave him a background that allowed for all kinds of directions of the character. And I think
I saw that scene. It was great.
Has given the character the richness. So I have to thank Bill Bell for that.
That was with Dorothy McClure, I think her name was the actress that played your mother. I believe they brought her on too at some point.
Dorothy McGuire.
That's why they brought her on.
McGuire,
thank you. She
wonderful
came on.
Actress.
And then I have to bring up, because you bring up a good point about fleshing out Victor's past, George Kennedy. My brother and I, JR, have talked about those scenes between the two of you.
George Kennedy, he just passed.
Yeah, he did. May he rest in peace, yes.
And
he played your father.
What a nice man.
Yeah.
What a pro, and about 6'4", 6'5".
And we're tall people. You're like 6'1". We're tall.
About 300 pounds.
Wow.
And when I hired him for the film The Man Who Came Back,
yes, he did that too. Yes.
I hired him as sort of the patriarch. And what a wonderful man. I can't say enough about him. Such deep respect for him. And he sat on the set in the heat of Texas in the summer. In his costume, ready to shoot.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the film, you wait for hours before it happens.
Right.
And anyone who came up asking him stories about Hollywood, he would tell stories in his deep voice. What a gentleman of the old school, I tell you.
Yeah.
And Sean Young.
Okay, yes.
Sean had a sort of a dramatic reputation.
Yes, in Hollywood, yes.
She was so sweet with him.
Yeah.
She was so wonderful in the film.
Yeah.
And she was so solicitous with him that I never forget it. That was the best time I've ever had, I think, in this business, being part of that film, because I helped put it together.
Yeah.
And I sort of cast the film, more or less.
That's good. That's good.
And bringing in George Kennedy and Billy Zane. And Armand Assante, who's a wonderful
great actors. All great actors.
Sean Young and Peter Jason, who's a character actor that you see in more films than you and I can shake your fist at.
Yeah.
Great sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I had then Kenny Norton. Ken Norton, the old heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah, of course. Oh, no, of course.
And who worked out in the same gym I used to work out in 78th and Hoover.
You're like in the hood.
Before he went to 108th and Broadway.
That's like you're boxing in the hood. I love it.
Yeah.
Eric Braeden was over there. Yes, I know where that is. But it's great. I mean, isn't it great to when you meet an actor where you connect and want to work with them again on something? Isn't that a bonus, a blessing?
Wonderful. It's wonderful. And Kenny Norton, woo, man, he was still powerful on the film. He's a big man.
Did you ask him stories about his
he
days?
gave Ali all he could take.
Okay.
I tell you. In fact, there's some doubts about one fight. A lot of people think that Kenny Norton won that fight.
Oh, how funny.
Powerful man.
Yeah.
Had a strange defense like this.
Oh, like,
And he had a hook. Wow.
wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Isn't that great?
I have the greatest respect for boxers.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Greatest respect. They put their life on the line every time they get into the ring.
And you like boxing, so that's
Well, I
your
love
thing too.
boxing.
Yeah.
No, sure. You know, have just the greatest respect for it. I took my son there when he was 7 and 8 years old to 70th and Hoover.
Yeah.
And our trainer was Henry Davis,
Okay.
a little black guy who was a flyweight or whatever he was before, full of wisdom. He was a
Wow.
philosopher of the street.
Wow.
To listen to him was just, my God,
Magical, I'm sure.
it's a wonderful time.
Yeah, I like that.
And then you had Scrap Iron Johnson, who ran 70th and Hoover. And then you had Cannonball Green, who's an old heavyweight.
I love it.
And all these old guys had stories that are just, I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me when I used to go to the barbershop when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and you hear all the old guys talking.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like it. It really is nothing like it. Nowadays, they don't have that anymore, kind of. But there's nothing like that.
No. And for me, it was a way to get away from Hollywood, get away from all that, and you know, and deal with people who live life. And boxing is arguably the toughest way to make a living.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's no tougher way. I don't think.
I agree with you on that one. That's why I agree with you on that one completely. Now, somebody wanted me to ask you because we of course love Jean Cooper. And, you know, she passed in real life. How hard was it during the memorial scenes on set for you guys? Again, long-term time cast member.
The memorial scenes were not that difficult because we were all in a group, but where it became very difficult is at her real memorial, you know, in her house. That was tough for me, for all of us. Very tough. Yeah.
Yeah, because Victor, you know, and Catherine obviously had a huge connection as you came to.
I loved working with her.
I'm sure.
You know, and Jeannie and I, Jeannie and I have been around. I mean, we
Yes.
saw the humor in all this, and first we had to, you know, get over the laughter before a scene.
Oh, yes.
And I loved her. I mean,
Yeah.
she was wonderful. And
Uh-oh.
the first scene we ever did, Jeannie was kind of bawdy, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was. Yes, she was.
I can fall into that very easily. So Jeannie, the first scene we did, came up to me and says, "All right, Mr. Macho Man, see what you've got." And she grabbed me by the you-know-what.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I called Bill Bell. I said, "Bill, no love scenes with her."
She'll get me. Oh, my God. That's hilarious.
I loved her.
Yeah.
I just
What a lady.
enjoyed working with her. And I was there when she was in the hospital in the last few days. And I miss her.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll talk more about the rest of this in a second, but we're going to go back to some of your other career choices, because I have to mention them. Well, number one, you did a movie with Yul Brynner and Marlon Brando.
Yep, 1964.
I'm like, okay, can you give us some? I mean, Marlon Brando. I mean, Yul Brynner too. Both of them. I mean, can you give me some words?
Well,
on
I would
them?
say Marlon Brando was arguably
The best actor of any generation
one
at
of
this
the
point.
biggest stars
Yeah.
that this town has ever had.
Yeah.
You know? Marlon was about 6'2".
Oh, he was tall too.
Yeah, about my size, a big guy.
Yeah.
And good athlete. And we used to throw the football to each other at the 20th.
Oh, how funny.
20th Century Fox before Century City existed.
Oh, how funny. Oh, my God. Wow.
And they used to do Peyton Place and all
Oh,
that
Peyton
stuff.
Place,
around
yes,
there.
yeah.
But we were behind the stages sometimes and threw the football. And then he and I would talk a lot of politics.
Ooh,
And
okay.
he was very interested in German history, having just played the Young Lions before.
Oh, yeah, the Lions, yes.
And then he would talk about American history and the Native Americans in America.
Yes, he was very, that was his cause. Yes.
He was very concerned about civil rights. In fact, he marched, I think, with Martin Luther.
I think he did too, yeah.
And he was a remarkable man and an enormously charismatic figure. And the funny scenes. And Yul was, we filmed on a ship
Okay.
off Catalina Island.
Oh, Caroline, okay, yeah, okay.
And Yul was this larger-than-life character as well.
Yes.
And they didn't like each other particularly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not really.
Yeah.
Marlon didn't think much of him, I don't think. Never said about I don't think so. And Yule was arguably the best raconteur, the best storyteller I've ever listened to.
Wow. Okay.
He would invite some of us to lunch on the ship, aboard ship,
Yeah.
at lunchtime, and tell stories in English, in German, in French, in Italian.
wow.
Spoke several languages.
Wow.
Extremely bright man.
Okay.
Smoked himself to death.
Oh, dang.
And then Marlon, oh my God, he. I remember Marlon could be cruel in his humor.
Okay.
One day on the set, Yule was beginning to tell him a story, a joke, and there were about 200 extras around, and Marlon sort of, and just at the punchline, he turned to one of the extras, "Hey man, how are you? Nice to see you," and took the wind out of
Oh my
Yule's
God.
jokes.
Joke. Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
And
That's kind of
interesting moment.
Didn't make Yule like him anymore, I'm sure, either. Yes.
Then we had a German heavyweight on board that ship, and he was one of the toughest guys I've ever known.
Oh, wow.
Just, and he would go to the kitchen on the ship. It was a New Zealand flag with Chinese crew, and he would always get a piece of steak, red meat, and put it on a hook, and hung it into the Pacific, and sharks would come,
Oh my God.
bite at it.
Yeah.
He would pull it up, and then, dissect the shark on board ship.
What?
Well, every time he did that, of course, the filming stopped. So they
yes.
finally asked him not to do that anymore. But anyway, he and I used to spar a lot, and he later fought Oscar Bonavena and some people like that.
Yeah.
He also trained at the Hoover Street Gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Oh my God, memories.
Yeah, and you did. People want me to ask. You did a western, 100 Rifles with Raquel Welch, Burt Reynolds, and Jim Brown. I mean, I talk about anybody who's my age or older knows like that is just like an iconic threesome right there. First of all, as a football fan, Jim Brown. I mean, so. I don't even know which one to start with first. I'll start with Jim Brown first because I'm a football fan. He transitioned into acting back then really well. So can you talk about the wonderful Jim Brown?
Well, I knew peripherally about football. I'd been in the country since '59. So this was in 60.
It says 69, I think.
68.
68. Oh, see when you filmed it.
And I was very involved in soccer.
Okay.
So, but football I always respected from the moment I came here.
Okay.
And obviously I knew who Jim was. And
He was a huge football star.
well, he was, which I've learned over the
Okay.
decades since. Jim and I respected each other. We talked a lot about politics.
Oh, politics.
And
Okay.
sometimes agreed and disagreed.
Yes.
And, being from Germany, whatever, I didn't give in. And so I remember the editor of Ebony saying, you're the only white guy that ever argued back to Jim. And probably also the only guy, period.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you didn't argue with Jim.
Anyway,
Yes.
I just respected him enormously. And that went both ways, I think.
Oh, good.
And we used to work out on the set together and again through the football to each other. And Burt Reynolds was part of that. And Burt did his own stunts,
Oh, he did? Okay.
Did his own stunts.
Wow, I mean, he was a huge star back then, too. I
He
mean,
did his own stunts.
Wow.
I must say, I'll never forget, he would jump out of running trains and all that and several times, and he did his own stunts.
wow, okay.
But there was one day when he had to tackle Jim Brown in a scene.
How'd that
And I
go?
said to the director, Tom Grice, I said, let me be there. I want to see that.
Yeah, let me see.
He says, I'll do several takes.
I like that.
I mean, Jim Brown was just
Yeah.
he was a larger-than-life
He was,
character. I mean,
yeah.
Jesus Christ. He would have. I come from track and field originally.
Right.
Had won the German Youth Championship in discus and javelin and shot put, so I've been around good athletes. And Jim Brown could have been a decathlete as well.
Wow.
He could have been anything in sports.
Wow.
And what a
Yeah.
figure. And Raquel was
Beautiful.
extraordinarily beautiful.
Oh, my God.
Beautiful.
She's still beautiful. I mean, like, back then, I mean.
Beautiful is putting it mildly, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just, and
Was that a fun picture for you?
yeah, it was. I have to say it was. It was.
Did you like westerns? Correct. You like westerns?
I liked them then. I remember one wonderful moment. You know, stunt guys think that is, shit, right?
Yes, because they're stunt guys.
So, yeah, well, they're stunt guys. Many of them have not been real athletes.
Yeah, that's right.
So I remember I came from the countryside in Germany, and when I came to America, I was a cowboy up in Montana for a while.
Oh, okay.
Worked on a ranch. And I remember the head stunt guy, there was a charge on horseback, cavalry charge. And I was the lead cavalry officer.
Okay.
And the guy brought me the horse, and I immediately didn't like that horse. So I got up on it, and I turned to him and I said, listen, that damn thing is too skitty. I don't like it.
Oh, we don't like that. No, no, no.
So he wanted it as much as, oh, well, hell, I'll show you. So he got on it. He was thrown off.
Okay.
I will never forget that moment.
yeah.
I said, anyway.
Yes. That's another. You told him, like, hello, we know horses. You know how they are.
But Spain of that time was interesting, We had done the Rap Patrol there.
Yeah.
In the same location.
Oh, same like, oh, wow.
In the south of Spain, in Almeria.
Okay.
And during the revolution, the Franco Revolution,
Yeah.
1936, which Franco won,
Okay.
the area of Almeria fought against Franco.
Oh, wow.
And therefore, when Franco was in power, he didn't pay much attention to Almeria. So in Spanish, it was called El Culo del Mundo, which means the asshole of the world.
As I said,
Yes, I'm sorry to the listeners, but that's what it was called.
That's what it's called. He's just saying what it's called.
But it was interesting.
Yeah.
And later on, we went to Granada.
Oh, Granada.
And Granada has the Alhambra. It's a castle kind of thing built by the Moors
Oh, wow.
in the 8th, 9th century. Extraordinary marvel of architecture.
I'm sure it's beautiful. Beautiful, I'm sure.
And then in Granada, you see the influence of medieval Catholicism and the Moorish influence. And they lived side by side,
They did? Wow.
eventually.
Oh, okay. I'll say, yeah.
But it's the influence of those two strong cultures.
Yeah,
You
together.
still felt in the south of Spain.
Yeah.
Whether it's the case now anymore, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was then. It's very interesting. And then when I did 100 Rifles, my wife and I would sit near the Alhambra at a restaurant and see at night in the caves, in the cuevas, you saw the fires lit. And then you heard the sounds of the gypsies singing.
Oh, wow.
And the gypsies,
I'm sure.
their music is just, I love it.
Wow.
It's so full of passion. And I know the best music to me comes from African Americans, blacks, who have truly suffered, therefore they have soul. Russian music, they have soul. And the gypsies, when you listen to that, the pain in that,
Yeah.
whoa, I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
My wife and I went one evening, we went by, because I used to play soccer with the gypsies on the set with my German boots on. And so they would invite us afterwards, just my wife and me, she was beautiful.
Yeah.
And they would invite us to the caves, and I remember one evening, I'll never forget it. And you come into these whitewashed caves,
Yeah.
and just she and I, and then 3 gypsies,
Yeah.
no instrument.
Oh, wow.
And they would start making up songs
Oh, wow.
and just use the table as percussion.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I tell people should travel.
Yeah.
You should always leave where you're from and see other stuff.
Trust me, if I think I hadn't,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, obviously, you've traveled. You came to America. So
I
that's
came
one
to
thing.
America in 1959
Yes.
off a boat. Took 5 days to cross the
You came in
ocean.
a boat?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
5 days across the ocean with a big suitcase.
Wow.
And, somewhat
You're young.
precisely.
Yes.
Just had turned 18.
Wow.
Came to New York, 34th Street docks,
34th Street. Okay.
and had to see the Empire State Building.
Oh, fun.
So went to the Empire State Building
Yeah.
and had there was a diner on top, my first cheeseburger and milkshake.
Do you remember how it tasted? Do you
I
remember?
loved it.
Oh, you're sure? Like, yes.
Never tasted cheeseburger before. Never a milkshake before.
Wow.
I thought, whoa, this must be good. So for years afterwards, I had cheeseburgers and milkshakes.
Well, that's very American of you.
That's the worst thing you can have.
You gotta get both,
Nevertheless,
you have both of them. Yeah.
I still love it. Every
Yeah.
so often I still do.
Yeah, yeah. I said, I love that
And
memory.
then I took the Greyhound bus from New York,
Oh, my God.
1959,
Okay.
through the South,
Oh, my God.
the entire South, to Galveston, Texas,
Okay.
because the cousin who sponsored my trip to America, my immigration, she taught at the Medical University of Texas in Galveston.
Okay.
And she was a radiologist, oncologist.
Okay.
And I took the Greyhound bus through the South in '59.
I know. I'm like, trust me, I'm picturing it already.
Whoa.
I know. Must have been.
And I thought, wait a minute. I grew up in Germany learning about the great democracy, America.
Oh, how funny. Okay.
And we loved Americans after the war, I must say. They were accepted very with open arms
Okay.
by the majority of Germans.
Yeah.
But driving through the South, I just saw this stark segregation for coloreds only, for whites only. And man, I sat there and I just couldn't believe it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Back of the bus, front of the bus.
Yeah.
And, whoa. So
Just to smack you in the face. Like, it was like, wow, this is a democracy. This is democratic America, yet not right here.
I just couldn't understand that contradiction. I really couldn't,
Yeah.
you know. And years later, with The Man Who Came Back, I made a film about Reconstruction, the 1870s.
Yes. I know that.
After the Civil War.
Yeah, the Civil War, yeah.
And somehow that whole period and the whole time has always attracted me, you know, historically and philosophically also. And so we made a film about Reconstruction, which really was a continuation of segregation by economic means.
Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. Oh, I know.
Anyway, go see the film. It's
Yes.
called The Man Who Came Back. And in a microcosmic way, we captured that period of Reconstruction,
Very cool.
when slaves were nominally freed, but they weren't really freed economically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're free now, but then you can't do nothing.
Right.
You can't get anything or do anything. That's almost like you're still a slave.
And you must remember that my first impressions as a 12, 13-year-old in Kiel, where I grew up, where I was born, Kiel was 96% destroyed during the Second World War.
Wow. And you survived that.
They threw 500,000 bombs over Kiel.
Oh my God.
Duration of the war, and we moved right at the beginning to the countryside, about 10 minutes outside.
Yeah.
So we were spared some of the worst.
Yeah.
But already in the 1950s,
Yeah.
one of the first things they built up was a huge hall, the Baltic Hall, the Ostseehalle, and who came to visit once a year was Louis Armstrong
Oh, okay.
and his orchestra, and I will never forget that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when he came in and sang, "Oh, when the Saints go marching in,"
Oh, I like it.
man, as a 12-year-old, my voice was ruined. I tried to imitate him. And Lionel Hampton came to town.
Oh, I know who. Yeah.
And then in track and field,
Yeah.
we saw there was a sprinter called Ira Murchison, a small guy. And, and we loved American music.
Yeah.
Loved Elvis Presley.
Oh, you're an Elvis fan. Okay, Elvis fan.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Graceland recently. I almost cried.
My first teenage infatuations, you know, Dancing with Girls to Presley and all those guys.
Yeah.
And what is the Rock Around the Clock? What is it?
Oh yeah, right. The Bill Haley in the comments.
Yes,
Yes, Bill Haley in the comments. Yes.
All that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff. Well, it's funny, just the power of music and the power of America to the rest of the world.
Oh, my God.
We don't, because we live here, we don't really get it. So you go somewhere else and then you see it, or you get stories from you and you hear it.
You know, if you B.B. King, for example, my God.
Oh yeah.
I met him in Memphis on Beale Street.
Beale Street. I've been there. Yes. He has a club there.
And I
So.
boogied the whole night in his club.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know.
B.B. King.
Another legend.
What a legend. And then Aretha Franklin is a big fan of the show, you know.
Yes, I do know that. Yes, I know that.
And I'm just so honored by that.
Yeah.
And then Miles Davis, I remember, came up to me at an airport
Oh.
in Hamburg, Germany. He had just performed there. He came up with some of his band members and
Really?
said, "Hey man, Victor Newman, blah blah."
Oh my
I
God.
said, "Whoa!" So
That's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, it is. You would be amazed how many people watch this stuff.
Oh, I know already.
You'd be
I
amazed.
know.
Yeah.
Do you like Victor Newman? Like, so I was saying to your other characters, do you like him at this point?
Sometimes.
You do, yeah.
Sometimes I like him a lot. Sometimes I don't. But I think he's, to me, one of the most interesting characters he could possibly be given to play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, completely. As I said
good,
earlier.
bad,
Right.
you know, ambivalent about things. Nighttime television used to be black and white.
Right.
And you're either a bad guy or a good guy. Well, that's bullshit, as we know.
Yeah, we know that, right?
And reality is far more inchoate, far more nebulous, far more ambivalent. And so I think the character, in some ways, is really a rather modern character, if you will. Because we know that most politicians, most people who run big corporations, have a dark side to them,
And with you, your acting choices, I just love you. So you're kind of known for the low tone, kind of voice. You don't usually raise your voice very often.
No.
And so was that a choice was that Bill Bell? Was that you? Was that a combination?
No, just me. And no.
Yeah.
No, Bill let me do what I wanted to do, really. Those are my choices.
I love them. Well, they're great choices.
And people often ask what is similar between Eric Braeden and Victor Newman, and it's hard to. There are certain things I would not do as Eric Braeden,
right.
and certainly wouldn't hire, doppelganger for Jack Abbott to come from a Peruvian prison, for heaven's sake. Are you kidding me? Jesus. I looked at that at first and I said, what? But it worked.
No, it did actually. And Peter Bergman did a
worked.
great job playing Marco and it's
wonderful job. And I always said, what the hell is Phyllis complaining about? She enjoyed it. So,
I love it. I love it. Gina Tognoni, love her too. Great actress.
she's wonderful.
Great addition to the show. Great.
Michelle Stafford, though, I still miss her.
Oh, my girl Michelle.
And the old Billy Miller.
Oh, he's on. They're all in General Hospital now.
Yeah.
Great actors. You guys gained Jason Thompson. I love Jason Thompson.
He is doing a very good job.
Yes, he is.
I'm telling you, I just went up to him the other day and I said, you are doing a damn good job. This is difficult to come into. He does it a little differently. He is playing it so well.
I agree.
With him, you always think that he's up to something else. He's not quite straightforward with Phyllis and his brother and all that.
Yes.
He's very good. He's doing a very good job.
I was very expecting somebody who he was highly identified on General Hospital to come into a highly identified role. I'm like, he's seamless. I think all the fans agree he seamlessly just came in.
Damn good job.
Really good job. And I mean, oh my God. And I mean, Molly Thomas Scott. I mean, what can we say about her? I mean, she's just.
Well, how often have we been married? I don't know.
I know the soap thing. Oh my God, yes.
Mel and I get along very well,
Yeah.
and I love her, and can't say enough about her, obviously, and
Yeah.
very fond of her, and we have been doing this now for 36 years together.
Yes, you have. Yeah. Yes, you have. Now, you have some awards. You've won many awards, and two of them I want to bring up because they're both. One was by fans, and then one's by peers. So you won the People's Choice Award in '82.
That meant the most to me.
And then tell me about that a little bit, why it means the most to you.
The People's Choice Award meant the most to me because I realized that what I do makes a difference to people who watch, who pay our bills. It is the ratings that pay our bills.
That's very true.
So it meant a great deal to me. More than getting an award by fellow colleagues. That doesn't mean that much. It's very nice.
Oh, well.
But the People's Choice Award, Susan Lucci and I got it at the same time.
Oh, how fun. Okay.
Yeah. And that meant, it really touched me. Like the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you ever go by it and check on it and say, oh, there it is, still there?
I am seen there every morning at 6, and I polish the star.
Exactly. Clean off a little, make sure it's
That's
okay.
right. In fact, Miguel is there every morning helping me.
Do it.
Yes, people wonder where he is. He's helping me every morning. No.
I like that.
I think I've been there once.
Okay. Do you know who you're by? Do you know who you're by? Your star?
No.
By? I don't know who you're by.
No.
I'll figure out one. I'll find out where you're by.
But that meant so much to me.
Yeah.
And I remember who was instrumental was Tom LeBonge, who was councilman for that Hollywood district.
Okay.
And he's an old friend and was a wonderful councilman. He's retired now, I think. But and George Kennedy was there. Kenny Norton was there.
Oh, good.
Melody was there. Peter Bergman was there. Jess Walton, I think, was there. Sean Young was there. Peter Jason was there. And my son, Christian.
Yeah.
My wife, Dale, obviously. And was wonderful.
You know, the thing is, I think it would be, as a person who comes to America to kind of basically live the American dream, to actually have a place in the iconic Hollywood that's going to be there for the rest of, as long as Hollywood's alive. I mean, that must be amazing, actually.
Meant a huge deal to
Yeah.
me. I must say, it choked me up. So, because I know that, my grandkids can go there and say, that's Opa. But I have to tell you,
Tell me.
my sweet eldest grandchild, Tatiana, she was about 4 or 5,
Okay.
and she saw a duplicate of the star of the Hollywood Walk of Fame and in my house.
Oh, okay.
And she says, Opa, that's German
Yes.
for grandpa.
Okay.
She says, Opa, what does that say? I said, well, sweetheart, that's my name up there, She says, oh, yes, Opa Kaka Pupu Pipi. I said, what? She says, it says Opa Kaka Pupu Pipi. I said, no, it does not. She says, yes, it does. That put it all in perspective.
But kids will do that to you every time. They will do it to you every time. Whenever I have something happen, I tell my grandkids, they're like, well, what does that mean? I mean, are you buying me a present when you come see me next time? Like, it brings it all down. They're like, you're just Papa Jamie. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I love it. I mean, 'cause it does keep you kind of in check a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't get a big head or anything like that. So we have a few moments, and I just want to just quickly go through a few things you did. You did Titanic, of course, because I believe they said you looked a lot like John Jacob Astor IV, and that's kind of how you got.
I don't know. I think James Cameron saw Colossus,
And
the Forbin project. He remembered that. I
okay,
think. Because one of the scenes, I finished a scene with I think it was with DiCaprio and Kate Winslet when they came down the stairs or whatever. At the end of the scene, he looked at me and says, never. And I thought he was critical of my acting. I was about to say, what? And he said, that's the last line in Colossus.
oh, how funny! That must be nice. That's kind of nice. But that film, of course,
He was a genius.
James Cameron's total genius.
James Cameron is a genius.
Oh my God,
Really
completely.
is. He's
I completely agree with you. But that film was so huge. I mean, you were you're on the #1 show on daytime, and you're the biggest film of
Right.
the
But
world.
I couldn't be in a few scenes because the agreement with Young and Restless was that whenever they needed me, I would have to come back.
Okay.
So a few scenes I couldn't be a part of. That is
Okay.
the one thing I regret.
Yeah.
But I certainly took a lot of late night, 1 a.m. If the CHP had known, I would have been arrested by now. And a BMW rode from Rosarito Beach through Tijuana, and then up the 405. And I love driving, man.
Okay, you got a good time to do that, didn't you?
Oh.
Now you were also in Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
So how's all the prosthetics and everything? How was that process?
Well, thank God I didn't have to wear that.
So you're lucky you didn't do that.
But I remember Kim Hunter and
Roddy McDowell.
Roddy McDowell
Yes.
had to be there, I think, at 3 a.m. every morning to put that makeup on. And I'm sure there are moments when they've felt claustrophobia.
Yeah. That's another iconic series
Ran
too.
through
Yeah.
stars, through straws.
Yeah.
Arthur Jacobs produced it, and his wife Natalie, and he wanted me to star in a film afterwards called The Aquanauts.
Oh, okay.
And we already tested on long wires hanging down the studio ceiling at 20th, and then he unfortunately passed away.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah.
How sad.
So who knows what turn my career would have taken then.
Is that funny? I know. Then you've done, I mean, like I said, episodic television. So we already talked about Gunsmoke. You did an episode of Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Linda Carter, we did a couple. We did the one where her famous scene, she's on a skateboard. It's a famous scene. You did, but Linda Carter, how is she? I mean, beautiful. I mean, hello. Oh my God. I saw why my father was watching that show when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I see why you're watching that show. I totally get it. Never she was in that outfit. I totally get it.
She's a beautiful lady.
Yeah, that's good. And then you also did Charlie's Angels, an episode of Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels.
I'm trying to remember which angels were on by the time you went. They had changes.
Jacqueline Smith, I think, was on it.
Okay. It was
Farrah Fawcett was on it.
so Farrah Fawcett was on there.
I think she was on there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either.
I really don't quite remember.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either.
Don't quite remember.
Yeah. Now that we were talking about, we've been talking about the overview of your career. I mean, what does acting bring to you now?
Money.
That's the truth, kids. That's the truth. There you go.
Well, that's slightly facile.
Yes. You've been doing it for so long.
I love doing what I'm doing.
Good.
And it still interests me a lot to take what someone else wrote and make it your own. That is what we actors really do. And that is easier said than done sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is what I do every day. And I enjoy doing it. And the moments that a scene works well with Peter or with Melody or with Amelia or Joshua Morrow or Justin Hutley, when it goes well, I just feel so good.
Yeah.
You know? And you know when it goes well. That's why actors become very good directors.
Makes sense.
Because they have a sense for when a scene works. You're not sitting there like a nerd who doesn't know anything about this except all the technical parts of directing.
Yeah.
But knows nothing about the emotional part of it. We actors can sense bullshit immediately. I mean, like that.
Yeah.
You watch a scene, you hear it. As we do a scene, you can hear when someone is on or off. You can hear you have a bullshit meter. You can hear when you yourself do a scene, you say, no, that's not good, let's do it again. And then you try a different avenue, and then it works. It's a wonderful exploratory process. I love it.
Yeah.
Had I done nighttime television and film, I would have been directing by now.
That makes sense. I see what you're saying.
So I think Clint Eastwood is a wonderful director for that reason that I just explained. He knows when a scene works. You know, he's one of the fastest, most efficient directors in town.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that part.
One of the
He's
most
just so good. He's so
efficient
good.
directors in town. Boom.
Wow.
He sees a scene, he invites actors that he trusts.
He does do that. I know that.
I mean, you watch Morgan Freeman
Yeah.
could read a damn telephone book, you won't believe it.
Exactly.
So, you know, you let him out, that is okay, cut,
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
And a lot of insecure directors will do 10 takes, 15 takes, 20 takes. It's an abuse of power.
Yeah.
And Mel Gibson is a wonderful director.
Yeah.
Wonderful director.
Yeah.
Great
I
director.
heard he's a very good director.
Oh, my God. Braveheart?
I love Braveheart. It's my favorites.
Fantastic
favorites.
film. So I would be directing if I just did films on nighttime television.
Yeah.
In daytime, I don't want to direct at all. No interest.
Yeah.
I love the acting process.
good.
And I make money with it.
Yes, you do.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
In the end, that's why we all do what we do.
Very true.
Be it in this profession, be it as carpenters, be it as mechanics, be it as hairdressers, be it as whatever you do, be what you do. We do it because we have to make a living.
That's true.
And this political campaign that's going on right now is only one guy is addressing, maybe two guys, are addressing the real need in this country
Yes.
for more people to have more jobs.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't give a damn what any of you say, but I think Obama has done a hell of a job.
I agree.
And unemployment has gone down, whether you like it or not, that's a fact.
Yes.
And so, anyway, let's not get into politics.
Yeah, we're going to politics.
We can talk about that all day.
Yes, yes. Well, Eric Braeden, thank you so much for coming on.
You know, I got to tell you something, James. This is arguably one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Oh, my God.
And the other best interview I ever had was with Larry King.
He's my idol. He's my idol.
Yeah. You
I'm
know
very
why?
good.
Because you listen. That's the trick of acting as well.
Yeah.
You listen to what the other actor says.
Yeah. Oh, you just made my year. Oh, my God,
right.
you made my year. Thank you very
Okay, man.
much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Eric Braeden can be seen every day on the CBS daytime drama Young and the Restless. And you can follow us here on AfterBuzz TV. This interview will be up forever, so you can watch it after you're done. If you want to see it again and again, share with everybody who's a fan of his. And you can follow me at James Law Jr. everywhere on the interwebs, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you. We're going to take some pictures.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.